All right, so we got another new one here for you, and this one's kind of exciting. So basically, what this is a spline tool for GE that will convert splines into a object file that can be easily brought into Blender to create, well, roads or whatever you want to create on a spline. Okay, so in this case, I'm gonna make a road, and yeah, let's check it out. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a spline, a new spline. So we'll create spline, and then we'll use our interactive placement, Control B as in boy. And then if you zoom in, you'll notice there's three red dots. And if we use our arrow keys on our keyboard, we can move to the different dots. Well, we want to go to the end. Well, you can go to the start. It doesn't matter. And then we'll just spread those out a little bit, right? Oh, if you deselect it, it's fine. Sometimes you can select on the right dot. I like to stay on the red dots, stay away from the blue dots. See the blue one there? For some reason, it's wanting to snap to that one. But in this case, we want the red dots, not the blue dots. Okay. Okay, and arrow keys over. Now let's go ahead and create some more points and create just a nice little road here. So we'll hit our insert button and then we'll use our interactive placement. Or if you want a straight road, you just move it over, insert, Control B is in boy, click, and then we'll just do that a few times and create a nice little road. Now, something to keep in mind is these real sharp turns here can be a little questionable. So try not to let it get too sharp. So that might actually be a little too sharp. So we'll go ahead and create a new spot there. I hit the wrong button, but it looks like we'll be okay. Control B. And if I hold down on my left click on my mouse, I can kind of see what that how sharp that spline's going to be. See, like this is not good. This is fine. And we can kind of set it where we want. Insert, Control B. So if you're like making roads up in the forest or along a river or what have you, you can kind of use this interactive placement to adjust your spline to your likings. But remember, don't make it too sharp. Okay, so once we have our spline, we'll go ahead and make sure it's selected here. And then we'll run our spline to object converter. And this will pop up a little screen here. And we have a spline point separation in meters. 4 seems to be pretty ideal. Basically, the higher the number, the further the points, the lower the number, the closer the points. And 4 seems to run really well for what I like to do. So we'll just hit the run script. It'll pop up asking us to save as a new file. It doesn't say save, it says open, but it means save. So type in 6 because we're on our 6th test. Just make sure everything works good, right? Okay. Now it's been saved. It says it down here in the console that it is officially saved and we're good to go. And then we'll go ahead and open Blender. I've got a copy here already open with stuff removed. I may do Blender tutorials in the future, and I will kind of go a little fast through this. So if you're not familiar with Blender, um, it wouldn't hurt to go watch a few videos on how to do some of the things that we're doing here. Anyway, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import the object file. So import wavefront object, and then we'll go to where that file was saved. And once you've found where your file was saved to, you'll go ahead and select it. And you can also add that location to your bookmarks if you wanted to, whatever works best for you. I do like to keep a few bookmarks in there. And then we'll import it. Okay, now chances are it's not going to be in the center of your screen and you're not going to see it. But to see it, all you got to do is hit the period key on your numpad. And voila, there's our spline. So we'll hit Z so that we're looking at it from the top down. And well, that looks exactly how we had it here. Let's see. So we'll go back to Blender. Okay. Now, if we go into edit mode, we can see all the different points. So we can see that this is a very detailed um, spline output, which is amazing. This is probably one of the better ones I've gotten to work so far. I like it. All right. So now to do a road, we got a few more steps to do. So first thing I'm going to do is go out of make sure I'm in object mode, and I'm gonna unselect my spline because I don't need that selected. And then I'm gonna create a new plane. So add mesh plane, and it creates a little plane here. And then we're gonna go ahead and um, hit the N as in no button, and we're gonna change the dimensions down here. Make sure your item is selected so it pops out and you'll see dimensions here. And I'm going to change this to 18 by 9. And you can kind of play with these and set it to what you think works best. This is what works best for me. So if you want to follow along with it, sure. Anyway, so now that we've got that set up, we're going to go into object mode and we will want to go ahead and set up our, what do you call it? Our, my own brain, shader. Yeah, shader. Okay. First thing we need to create a material. So click the material button here, which is this red little circle thing, and then we'll hit new. Make sure your material is unique. So each texture that you want on your map has to have a unique material name. Because if you have two with the same material, the GE will try to make them combine or whatever. So we'll call this one new road underscore mat. You don't have to name it with the underscore mat, but I like to just because, well, underscore material, right? Now, let's see here. All right, so since we have that set up and it's good to go, now we need to bring in our textures. So I've already opened them here. They're located in the game files, data, maps, maps US, textures, buildings, infrastructure. And there's a couple different road textures in here. The best thing to do is to go into one of the base game maps and look at how they, um, which textures they used, and also look how they did the shaders. That way you can kind of match exactly how they did it to get the same effects, like the edge of the road. There's a certain way that you set that up to where it looks the way it does. And that's all in the shader. So basically just copy what's in GE. I'm not going to worry about that in this video. So for now, we just want to bring over our main road diffuse because I'm going to use this main road here. We want the normal and we want the spec. Okay. And then we can go ahead and move that out of the way. Let's make this bigger. And the cool thing is you just drag and drop them in here, right? Move this up here. And then our spec will be in the middle, and then our normal last, or whatever order you want to do it in. Now we need to go ahead and add, let's see, a vector normal map. We need to add our normal map. So that'll go down here with this. And then our spec map is a converter, which is the separate color converter. Okay. Zoom in so you can see it a little bit better here. We'll go and make this a little bigger. Okay, so we've got our textures here. We'll start with the diffuse. The diffuse, we just go ahead and connect to the base color. See how that already changed on the road here? Now it's not lined up how we want it, but we'll fix that here in just a minute. And then our specular will connect here. We will not see this in Blender. This is only in GE. And to get this little menu out, we push the N as in no button. And then with node selected, make sure it says separate color, separate color. We want to rename this to gloss map, just like that. Capital G, gloss map. Okay, I don't know if you have to do both of them, but I'll go ahead and do it anyway. Okay, we'll press N to get rid of that. So it says gloss map. Okay, now we just need to set up our normal. Now the color space, we need to set that to non-color. And then we'll drag the color over to color and then normal to normal. Perfect. Now our material is set up and we can see it here. Okay, so now that that's done, we'll go into UV editing. And now we just need to line it up. This is showing the spec. I want to see the diffuse. So you just select it in the drop down. Make sure you're selecting the one that matches what you're working on because it will show the other um, textures in here. Okay. So why do I not see? Ah, here we go. So this one here, the viewport shading will give us the texture. We're going to do a top down so we can see it real good here. And let's move this over. Okay, so now we want to resize the UV map here. So what we'll do is hit, okay, so unselected. If we hit A on the keyboard, it'll select it all. And then we'll hit S to scale. Okay, see how it's moving? Now don't click anything because otherwise it'll stay. Which if you do, that's fine. You just control Z and then do it again. So S to scale. And then we want to do, what is it, the Y scale? Yeah. So Y, we press Y on the keyboard. And notice how we kind of have that, it's only moving up and down. We want to do 0.5. So period 5. Okay. And then let's go ahead and turn the snap on here and then hit our move button here. And we're just going to move it up. So this is the darker texture, and this is the lighter texture. So basically, you pick one or the other. I think we'll go with the darker one for this case. Okay, so our UVing is done. That's all we have to do there. All right, now the fun part. Now let's go back to the layout. Let's go ahead and see it. I like seeing my color there. All right, now let's go ahead and create our uh, modifiers. So we'll go to the we'll click on the modifiers tab and we'll add a modifier. I like to search for mine. And in this case, we want to search for generate array or just type array, A-R-A-Y. And then we'll select that one. Okay, notice how it made it longer. And we can actually lengthen it, okay? And then we want it to tie to the spline, so we'll hit add modifier, and then we'll search for curve, okay? Now, our spline is not a curve at the moment, if you noticed. So let's go ahead and bring that into sight. So we want to convert it into a curve. Well, in object mode, we just go to object and then with it selected, make sure it's selected. And then we go object, convert, and then we'll make it a curve. Okay, see how it's now a curve over here and it's got the little curve looking thing. And then, yeah, it's curve here. Anyway, so now if we go back to modifiers, click on the plane, and then for the curve, we select the curve, which you can actually, if you want, you can hit the little eyedropper and select it here, and it'll select it, or you can select it from the drop down. If you don't have a bunch in there, it's fine. Okay, now that we've got that, all we have to do is increase it. Okay. So that's our row. Now, you're not going to get it perfect. You can set fit to length and then set the meters so you can do it that way, or you can set it to fit the curve and then you select the curve, but that one doesn't always work right, so I don't really use that one. We'll just do fixed count, and it's okay if it goes over a little bit. We can, if we need to, we can just kind of edit that out a little later. All right, so if you notice on some of these curves, which it doesn't look bad, but it's a little sharp, right? That's a kind of a sharp point here, and we don't want those sharp points, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our, we're going to click on our plane, and then we're going to go to edit mode, so tab, okay? And then we'll hit period so that we can see it. Now notice that we are back to the center where the plane that we created is for the road. And then we're going to right click it and subdivide. And I want to have one more row going across here, so I'll subdivide it again because I want to eventually turn these I want to turn into a spline eventually, or have that ability to duplicate it and create a spline from it. Okay, so once we've done that, I want to add a little bit more to it. Well, let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Okay, so if we hit tab, click on the spline, oh, hit the period key. Look, already much better. See how much smoother that is? But we can get a little more detailed. Okay, so what we're gonna do is go back to the plane with the mouse over the viewport, hit the period key. Oh, nope, I want the plane. Oh, sorry. Edit mode, then we'll hit the, come on. Oh, it's not wanting to do it now. Okay, well, anyway, we'll just fly over here. Okay, so I want to do loop cut, and I'm just going to add a couple more vertical ones here. Or, yeah, vertical. I don't know. The up and down ones, because I don't need any more this way. Not worried about that. We just want more this way. And the more you add, the more detailed the corners are going to be. Okay, we'll come out of edit mode, and then we'll jump back over here and take a look at it. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good result. Not bad. All right. So once we've got that all set up, we can export it. Oh, wait, we want to set up our shader. So we'll go down here to the material, scroll on down. If you're using the Giants exporter, this process is a little different. But if we're using the community exporter, which I prefer to use, this is what you would do here. So we'll select our shader, which is in data, shaders. And then this one is Vertex paint shader. Where are you at? Vertex, nope. Vertex paint shader. Okay. And then we want to select the uh, alpha noise, train format, custom parallax, alpha map. Now, whichever road you're copying, just kind of copy those settings. So if you open it in GE, the base game map, and open that, click on the road, and just look at the settings that it uses for the shader and such, and kind of copy that. So this may be a little different than the way the other roads might be done. Okay. Right. So once that's done, now if you want the edges to be blended and stuff, copy the file paths here for how they're set up in GE. I'm not going to go over that in this video, but if you want it to have that beautiful edge, that's how you would do it: is update these textures from the shader part of it. Okay. One last thing we need to do is do some vertex paint, and let's see, we want to go into edit mode. Oh, sorry, go to vertex paint here. Okay. And then with what is this one? Viewport shading selected. Just click and make sure we're on the start end, and then just paint it in. It's not wanting to paint. Oh, we need to be dark. Is it? Okay, so it's not working. Go figure, when I try to show this part, it doesn't work. Maybe I need to apply it first. So we'll go back into object mode, and then we're going to go ahead. Now you want to apply the array first, and then apply the curve. Okay. So now we have um, our plane is now. So if we hide the spline, now our plane, that's our plane. So we can go into edit mode and see what it all looks like. Very detailed, right? All right, now let's go into Vertex Paint. And it's still not letting us paint in here. Hmm. This part always gets me. Sometimes I get it right the first time, sometimes I don't. Uh, we only need one UV map. Or do you need to? I can't remember. I always have to export it to try it. Uh, leave shadow map. Let's go ahead and export it and see what it does. So we'll go ahead and go File, Export, I3D, and then we'll save it to wherever we're wanting to save it to. Okay, so I've got it exported as untitled, so I'm not too worried about it right now. And we'll just open that up in GE and see what it looks like. Okay, now that we've got this exported and loaded, we check the console down here. I'm not seeing any errors. Click the plane. Looks like we're good. Um, you know what it might be? It might be the normals are backwards. That's something that I've run into quite often. So if we click this, what is this called? Well, if you click this one that's got the double circle or whatever in the middle up here, and then click face orientation. Ah, there we go. See our we want blue. Red is not good. So that means that if we're looking down on it, it's it's we're not going to see it. So in GE we won't see it. Okay. So let's go ahead and select that, and then we'll go into edit mode. Well, with everything selected, we go to mesh, normals, flip. Okay, see how it's blue now? We're good. Now we should be able to, well, let's turn the face orientation off. And then we should be able to go to our Vertex paint and, well, let's make sure that our viewport shading is selected. And is it still not wanting to cooperate? On the wrong one here. Basically, this first Vertex paint is used for kind of putting in the snow and uh, snow and stuff like that, which I don't really fully know exactly how all that works, but I do know that you have to paint on it for it to export properly. And for some reason, it's just not cooperating. Let's try exporting it again, see what that does. Okay, so that ended up actually exporting for me this time. And it turns out it was just the uh, vertex, or not the vertex colors, but the the face orientation. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and open our map up. This is our spline. Close this tool. So we'll go ahead and file, import, untitled, open. There's our road. Okay, so now that we got the road in there, it's kind of wonky looking. Okay, and that's because it we don't have it set up for the what you call it, the detail, terrain detail, terrain decal. I don't know where I'm getting detail from. So we're going to uncheck rendered in viewports and then check terrain decal. And then if we uncheck, there it is. So we'll go ahead and hide the spline here because why not? Click away from it. There we have a beautiful road. And if you have other roads and you want this road to be like above it or below it or whatever, you can actually move its relations. So this one, we're going to bump it up a little bit so that it's up here. And a cool thing about this way of doing the roads is if you want to alter your terrain after the road's placed, you can, which this tool takes a little bit to load, unfortunately. So we can actually raise the terrain and the road will follow. So you can create little bumps or hills or what have you for the road. But yeah, so that's how you make a road for Giants editor or FS25, and the road looks very natural and nice. So yeah, can't beat that. I don't know. What do you think? Is this something you'll use? Do you like seeing these kind of tutorials? Do you want us to create more tutorials like this? And we do plan to put out more tutorials related to um, Giants editor and mapping and just tons of stuff coming soon. So appreciate you watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and let us know what you think. Hey, and did this work for you, or did you struggle like I did? Appreciate you watching.